So our lead this hour is from the belly aching around baseball. The fallout continues. Now, I thought this would be a one-day story. The story still got legs. It is the signing heard round the baseball world. The reigning World Series champion, Doyers, have landed a mortal enemy of this radio show and two-time Cy Young winner, bro, I'm risking my life, bro, Blake Snell, in a big free agent signing that was announced this week. The agreement is in place. Blake Snell has to pass a physical, and he'll be on the Dodgers. Now, there's a lot of immediate pearl clutching. Social media has been bombarded with fans groaning and grumbling, and it has continued to pick up steam here. It is a nonstop gripe fest as people vent about the move. Now, some of the media dopes, I've seen several, I say this in air quotes, think pieces with a similar theme, that the Dodgers have ruined baseball and bah humbug and it's not right and blah, 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 blah. So we had talked about this in a previous episode of the show, and that part of the story I enjoy. I'm not a fan of Blake Snell's. I find him to be everything that's wrong with the modern athlete. But that said, he has been an effective pitcher for 85 pitches in 5 innings, but that's not the story. The story continues to be the woe is me crowd that has our attention. All right, so let us discuss the question. Have the Dodgers ruined baseball this Thanksgiving by signing Blake Snell? So I've got Chardonnay, credit card, and extra helpings. We're going to combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a nice plate of sour grapes, which is what a lot of you have, sour grapes. And number one. Let me just start out by telling you it is absurd. The whole premise of this argument is absurd. And it tells me you're a bad fan. If you're upset about the Dodgers adding another good player, you're a bad fan, right? Tell me you have a defeatist attitude without telling me you have a defeatist attitude. Let me tell you, my fandom, now this is how I approach things, okay? I like the Clippers, and they've often sucked. Now, the last 20 years they run L.A., but prior to that, they were pretty bad. And the entire time in my head, I was like, oh, man, the Clips are going to beat the Jordan Bulls or the San Antonio Spurs. They had their dynasty. And you want to go against greatness because then if you beat greatness, follow along here, that's more impressive, right? Like if the Dodgers are truly a fire-breathing dragon in Major League Baseball, which a lot of you think they are, then that's good. They're the bad guys. They're the evil guys, the evil empire. You want to beat them, right? They got all the good players. You want to take them down. So the Dodgers added another good player. It's not fair. It's not fair. Boo-hoo-hoo. Suck it up, Buttercup, right? And these Braves fans and the Padres fans, the Philly fans who are drinking the Chardonnay, as I like to say, right? We call them the wine enthusiasts. The wine enthusiast. That primal scream was actually music to the ears of the Doyers. It was, as you sing the blues, the Dodger blues, literally and figuratively singing the blues. Now, page 2. A large chunk of Blake Snell's deal is deferred, right? A big chunk of it is deferred, and that continues to be a theme of this era of Dodger baseball. Blake Snell's contract, by the way, the numbers on this are mind-blowing. Right? You're going to puke up your turkey when you hear this. The Dodgers' deferred compensation liability is close to $1 billion. $1 billion. $962 million. The Dodgers are going to have to pay out down the line. Ohtani by himself is $680 million of the $700 million contract. So they They've got $680 million downstream that they have to pay. Now, Mookie Betts signed a $365 million deal, but that contract had $115 million in deferrals. So we can do the math on that. Right now we're up to $795 million. But wait, there's more. So Freddie Freeman and Will Smith, the Fresh Prince of Chavez Ravine, they are combined owed more than $100 million in deferred compensation. So you tack $100 million on there, and then you add in Blake Snell and a couple of other small payments, and you get to the number $962 million. So the question that has been asked by many who are very upset, and they're huffing and puffing, and they want to blow all of baseball down, will Major League Baseball and their Weasley commissioner, Rob Manfred, do anything? Do anything at all? Will they do something about limiting deferred payments and essentially take away the move the Dodgers have played here? So I don't believe they will. I think the answer is no, they will not, and here's why. You've got the micro and you have the macro. Short term, it is wonderful for the Dodgers. They are living in Casablanca, right? It looks really bad for the rest of Major League Baseball. The Dodgers are getting all these players. The deferrals allow teams like the Dodgers to avoid paying the luxury tax threshold. It's a loophole, and that allows the way they have the salary tax threshold, which is like a soft salary cap. You can continue to bring in A-level premium talent and avoid having to pay tax penalties. Just like rich people don't pay taxes, right? They tax the middle class and the poor, but they don't tax the rich because the rich get out of it because they have good lawyers and good accountants and all that. Well, Major League Baseball's CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, as we understand it, there are no limits, none, on deferred money at all. Dodgers are proving that on contracts as they are up to almost $1 billion in deferred payments. There's no cap on total deferrals, et cetera, or the percentage of a deal that can be deferred. So the Dodgers are not breaking any Major League Baseball rules. My grandfather would say it's all kosher. Everything's kosher. But long term, it's a poison pill for the Dodgers. It is. And that's the macro, right? Get the micro and the macro. And that's why I don't believe baseball is going to do anything about this. And here's really the rub on this. And I actually talked to somebody that works in baseball. I was texting them during the day because I was supposed to be sleeping, and I had too much caffeinated tea, so I was up way too long, and so I started futzing around on my phone. But I started texting some people around baseball. The Dodgers are essentially running up a massive credit card debt. They are spending money that they don't have today, which, as we know, in the real world as adults, is the first step to the slippery slope of mediocrity and bankruptcy and things like that. So for the next, let's say, 10, 11 years, it's all good, right? Smooth sailing for the Dodgers. They'll win 3 or 4 more World Series over the next 10 to 11, 12 years. And after that, that is when the IOUs come due. That is when the rubber meets the road, and it is going to be bad. They might even bring back Hee-Sop Choi. That is how bad it's going to be in Dodgerland after that. And as somebody pointed out, enjoy this because it's going to be ugly. Around that time, the rumor, and whether it's true or not, who knows, the rumor is the ownership group of the Dodgers is more likely than not going to sell the team around the time they have to pay out all this deferred money. They're going to get out, and some other jabroni is going to come in and be handed. By that time, it'll probably be $1.5 billion in deferred money. Therefore, I do not anticipate that baseball will close the loophole because the argument is, well, just wait. You got to play the long game. If you play the long game, you're in good shape. Because the Dodgers eventually, this is going to be a gigantic problem. And even though they have the money, does not mean when they sell the team, the new owner is going to be like, well, I want to continue to spend that amount of money. Well, they're going to say, I got to pay this amount of money to Ohtani, who's going to be in his 50s, And Mookie Betts, who'll be in his 50s as well, I don't know about that. So anyway, all right, now final point. We pivot away from La La Land to the Bronx Zoo. The Bronx Zoo. We are told the New York Yankees have already increased their initial bid as they try to win the Juan Soto sweepstakes. That is the next domino to fall. It is expected between this weekend and the following weekend, baseball's winter meetings, that Juan Soto will agree to a new contract. I know you're very concerned about his finances. Now, earlier this week, the Pinstripers were one of five teams that had placed a preliminary bid at the auctioning booth, a silent auction, to get Juan Soto. Now, we are told Soto would like a 15-year deal. I'd also like to point out, I told Fox Sports Radio I'd like a 15-year deal. They laughed at me and told me to get out of the office. Now, that would take Juan Soto into his 40s. And it's worth noting, for those of you paying attention, that the Yankees are willing to include a bunch of escape hatches, opt-outs as part of their offer. So Soto, if he thinks he can get even more money in 5 years or 2 years, could opt out. Now, Soto is getting an increased offer from the Yankees. That's the reporting. What does that signify to you? What does that signify to you? So I'll go first. So if true, it signifies an extra helping of anxiety, that this is nerve-wracking for the Yankees, the brass there, because they see what could happen. Like, there's multiple dimensions here. It's nail-biting time in the Bronx. The Yankees have legitimate concern that they are going to lose the player to the Mets, that this is unthinkable. Like, the Mets get Yankee trash. The Mets don't get players the Yankees want. They get players that the Yankees are done with that then go and try to restart their careers with the Mets. It normally does not work the other way, right? It does not work the other way, and this would be a first, and that would be an up you, you know what, you're a schmuck message from Cohen, the owner of the Mets, to the Yankees. And then you also have lurking in the shadows the Red Sox, which would, I don't consider them legit. I think that's bogus. But there are some that say the Red Sox have made a legitimate offer to Juan Soto. And if the Red Sox get in on Juan Soto, all of a sudden they're back in the game, right? They're like, we'd like to try to win again. We're tired of sucking. We want to be good again. And then that becomes a problem. Now, all of this I find nauseating. The public canoodling, the PDA that is taking place here between Juan Soto and all these teams. But it does help fill the content machine. So from that part of it, I'm very happy. If you would like to be part, you can join us. We're doing it live. I'll talk, you listen, and call in, and we'll let it rip. We will let it rip, and you can be part.